Good morning. I look a little different. I shaved, started having changes on the inside, felt like having changes on the outside. Kind of represent me a little bit more. I was getting sick of it anyway. Just getting annoying, didn't look good. I didn't like it. Look like I'm 12 again. Anyway, had my third session yesterday and went in with an intention of kind of doing some self work. Like, I wanted some self confidence and stuff like that. But Mama Ketamine had a different idea. This time it was all about giving. Yeah, I had the intense urge to just give more than be left selfish with my time. Like, I want to start going to homeless shelters and serving food, and I want to put up a note on my little bulletin board in my little townhouse community and just offer up my services to folks, not expecting any payment in return. I know there's a few elderly folks here, and I can just work. I'm just kind of a handyman. I've done all kinds of shit, so I can kind of help around here a little bit. Just kind of put my number out there and just lifting shit too sometimes. I mean, there's a really old Asian lady lives here. She's like, gotta be 90, if not in her 80s, but God help her. She's walking every day and she does laps in the pool every day. Sometimes she does laps with me. So, anyway, folks might just need some help and they may not have anyone around to help them. So maybe I could provide that for my community and just be a little bit more part of it and just help a little bit. So got that out of this one. It's definitely stronger. I thought they went from half dose to a full dose, but apparently they just keep going up in increments of 10. I think I started at 40, and they just keep going up every time. So definitely stronger. I never felt like I had control, but I always kind of could predict where it was going before. But this last dose was definitely humbling and let me know that I'm not in charge. So I just got to go with it. There was a point where I was looking at this giant structure and it zoomed in close to this one particular part of it. It really wanted me to see this one part of the structure, so I went and saw it and took that in. It's like, you need to see this. Okay. Then from that I looked down and there was like this white fluffy river of clouds, and we kind of got lower, and then it kind of felt like that was more of a blanket. And I really didn't want to go any farther than that, but she said we're going, and I went okay, and went down into it, and I was filled with just a warm light. I wasn't afraid. And this sounds weird, but I felt if I die right now, I will become part of this, and I'll become part of the universe. So I wasn't afraid, and I just went with it. I do have to say that if you want to do this, I would suggest, I don't know if I said this before, definitely do some work before. You got to prepare yourself for this. You got to be ready mentally, physically, spiritually. You just need to be ready for this. Don't go into it lightly, for sure. I want to talk about the podcast a little bit, because I don't know how many people will watch a 4-hour podcast or will at least listen to it, but I did. There's a lot of good information there. They're talked about a lot about the way they administer it, and good practices and bad practices and stuff like that. So the way I get it is an IV in the hand, and it's slowly administered over an hour. It's controlled. Hold on, Lola, open the door. I gotta close it. Hi, Lola. Sorry. Intravenously through my hand. For people who don't like needles and stuff, there is a one that goes in your nose, but it's not as effective because you're just kind of getting the full dose of it and you're not absorbing as much as you should anyway. But yeah, it's like a liquid, but there's other ways of doing it. You can do it intramuscularly, just kind of injected right, like you're just getting a shot. That's not great either, because one, you're sent right in. Like, there's no like waiting time or like in between, you're automatically in there, and that's not great. And it doesn't last as long as you need it to at the dose you need it. So there's a reason they do it this way, is because it's the best way to get the best results. Now, just so happens that the amount you need for healing crosses the amount you need to start getting a out of body experience, I guess, or a psychedelic experience. I guess the argument they're having is whether or not you can get the same results, because you can do medicines like weed. There's weeds out there that are just THC. I'm sorry, CBD. Charlotte's Web is like mostly CBD, and there's like a very little, if any, THC in it. So there are ways to make certain drugs, because the girl just needs the CBD in it, and it stops her having seizures. So she just wants that part. But the argument on ketamine is, will you get the same effects if you take out that part of it? And the argument is, there's no is kind of the one I'm leaning to, just because you need that disconnection, that disassociation from yourself to be able to get the benefits, in my opinion. Well, without that, I think I'd still have kind of that ego blocking you, not allowing you to be open, or just keeping you from opening up completely to the process. So, in my opinion, you need that. It's scary to some. I know we've been fed a lot of shit since I was a kid, at least. I mean, the drug war and, reefer madness and all of the bullshit we've been fed about these kind of drugs and the potential for very positive effects for everyone, not just people suffering like me, like just everyone can benefit from this. But again, don't go into it lightly, and be in a really comfortable, safe environment when you do it, because that helps a lot. I did have one bad LSD trip way back in the day, but there was only one, so I'm kind of already saw the devil, you know what I mean? I'm not nervous, and I know I'm in a safe spot. I can be pulled out anytime I want. That's the difference between, I think the biggest difference between this and like ayahuasca or mushrooms is you can be pulled out as fast as you can say it. I have a button around my neck, and if I feel too nervous or I'm just not having it, I can press it and they can pull me out immediately. Ayahuasca and mushrooms and stuff like that, you're going for the ride no matter what, whether you like it or not. Like, hold the fuck on, because if it's bad, you're going, and there's no way they can pull you out. So that's a really comforting and positive thing about this. Like, LSD that's an 8-hour commitment. You don't plan anything for the day, because that's a commitment. I don't know how long mushrooms last. I assume it's similar to LSD. I only had a really small dose when I did it, so I don't know. But ketamine you can be pulled out. So that's a benefit, especially for people who are hesitant about trying any kind of psychedelic drug like that. It's a good starter. I want to talk about also something that kind of makes me sad is just the meh attitude to some folks when I talk about it. It's hard to explain the love and the calm and the joy that I experience while I'm doing this, and I want everyone to feel that. Like, I want everyone to be able to try this, because it's so beautiful. That's it. And I wish I could share it with everybody. But when I get that attitude about it's like, yeah, cool. But it's deeper than that. It's deeper than just feeling okay. It's way deeper than that. Like, we're talking about understanding the universe, like being in touch with not just people, but everything. You feel like you're connected to, unfortunately, there's been no clouds lately. It kind of makes me sad, because I want to see nature doing nature shit lately. And luckily there's some birds around, so I'm just watching birds, just staring at them, like just trying to figure them out a little bit. Just, it's different. Anyway, I know it's a very hippie view about shit, but that's how you feel. You just fucking love everything. So ego death is also another important part where your ego is blocking you. You know what I mean? I don't know if I said that about the other thing, but people do say they die, and you're not really dying. It's really just an ego death, and that's important in this process. And blocking your ego during your trip is really important because you have to let go, like, and it helps you. So if you don't let go and you fight it, you're not going to get any work done. You're not going to get any healthy benefits. You're just going to have a bad time. So don't ever, if you do this, don't try to force it. Just go with it. Just, even if you want to see that shit longer, it's just going to take you, and don't think about the other thing. Just, they say, be a curious observer, and you kind of feel lazy. Like, I feel like I should be doing something, like I should be trying to figure this out, but what I need to do is observe now, and then we figure it out later. And that's where we do the integration, which is an important part, which another bad practice at some of these places that you can go to is, yeah, you can get ketamine. They'll shoot you up with ketamine, let you chill for a while, but do they have the integration afterwards? Do they have the coach work? Do they have, all that shit, like all the stuff that will help you to succeed and increase your chances of success? Because I don't think I would do as good if I didn't have at least that backing, that support, that coaching to be able to talk through my experiences and try to interpret and get help. Just understanding, the just plant medicine in general and the benefits, and it's nice to have that. Check out that show, Change Your Mind. It might change your mind on changing your mind. But yeah, it's a pretty good thing, and it's kind of cool watching this one guy. It's the one guy, and he's going through I think 4 different drugs: LSD, mushrooms, and ketamine's not on there. LSD, mushrooms. There was 2 other ones, but no ketamine, which I was kind of sad because I kind of wanted to see that. But the other ones are very similar. But it's kind of cool. It kind of goes through the whole process, also describing how plant medicine and psychedelic medicine has been stifled for decades, just illegal, and you couldn't do anything, and you couldn't research it, and it was taboo. Nobody wanted to touch it, but it's coming back, and it's really good for everybody. So that's important. Also, kind of just a funny thing, like when I say they have that crystal to kind of keep you in reality, and those smelling oils. Some people think they're not breathing, and it's because ketamine is an anesthetic, and it's kind of knocks people out if you do enough of it. So you can't really feel yourself breathing. It's really odd. Like, I've been doing a lot of breath work. That's another thing that you should probably start doing. If you're going to go into this, just start doing breath work. Just work on sitting, meditating, and breathing. But box breathing is, that's how you start. You just kind of ease yourself in with a little bit of box breathing. I've been doing that for a while, so I know my breath a little bit better than most. So I never felt that. I could always tell I'm breathing because I'm working on it. Like, I'm breathing, like I'm doing my breath work, and I can feel it myself. But they just tell you to know, if you freak out, just kind of put your hands on your chest and just feel your chest going up and down, so you know that you're breathing. It's like, it reminds me of what's it, Aliens versus Monsters, where the blob forgets to breathe. I forgot how to breathe. But I can see that being an issue if you're deep in a ketamine trip and you don't think you're breathing. That could be a pain in the ass. So I got shit in my throat. Oh, God. So that's about it for today. I have my next session tomorrow. I chatted with my coach this morning. She's great. We finally did a video chat, like a Zoom, so we could see each other, and that helps a little bit better. It's a little bit more intimate. Not as good as being face-to-face in person, but better than nothing. So anyway, have a great day, y'all.